All right, just for the record. Oh man, my heart's still beating fast. There's my controller. There's the drone. I took off and landed from this little footbridge here over the creek. My heart's going a million miles a minute. I'm kind of a novice flyer, but the Mavic drone is very well stabilized using GPS. So being up here on a mountaintop, it was a little windy and gusty, but with it being stabilized, I was actually able to fly it out through those trees right there. And I can't even remember now, I flew it, I think it was over 2,000 feet away according to the display. And I mean, way further out than what I could actually see. Of course, I never lost sight of the little dot in the sky, which is the drone. But anyway, flew it down there to try and see what I could see. And when I got it out there, it gave me a message saying that there was too much wind and that I needed to use return to home to get it back. However, the problem is with return to home, you know, it flies like, depending on what your choice is, I think mine's set at 30 meters. It goes to an altitude 30 meters above where you took off from, and then it flies in over the point that you took off from, and it comes straight down. So straight down would put me coming through these trees right here, and I didn't want to risk that, so I had to fly it back on my own. And as you'll see on the video, I managed to fly it back through those trees right there. The display on my phone is so small, I'm not sure if I got the car on camera, and if I didn't get it on camera, I'll just have to come up here and give it a try another day. My heart's beating a million miles a minute. If I owned this thing for 10 years, I wouldn't be so worried about losing it, but I bought it 3 or 4 weeks ago and really thought I was never going to see it again when it got out there. I had the stick full bore pushing it to fly back to me, and it was just flying like, for a while it was flying like 1 or 2 feet per second, and I'm assuming there was a headwind holding it out there. Anyway, made me really nervous. Got it back. I'm gonna go home, look at the video, see what I got. All right, so here's the drone footage I've just taken off from the footbridge. Just to let you know, I did not find the car. As the video goes, I will point out where I believe the car is. And the car I'm referring to is the one from one of my other videos. So anyway, it's taking me a while to get out right here. The drone is stabilized with GPS, but the problem is it was kind of gusty and windy. You can see the leaves moving around a little bit. If you look at one of the trees, probably 30 feet out from the drone, you can see the tree like swaying back and forth in the wind. And so when I was flying it through this little part right here, I probably had, I don't know, 4 inches, 6 inches on each side. You can see that was pretty close, especially on the left. Now that the drone is past that, it's a little more open. I can fly it pretty much straight out, although there is a tree on the left that's in the way a little bit. Alright, so you can see the creek going down the rocky side of the hill, and the car is probably down, it's just to the on the right side of the creek down there, and there's a clump of green trees down there, approximately dead center of the screen, or a little bit further down than that, and that's approximately where the car is. Now when I was flying, I was looking at my cell phone was the screen, and that I was looking at, and it's kind of small, and I lost track of where I was. Right now the drone is probably directly over the car, but I didn't realize that, and I just flew the drone right out past this ridge right here. You can see that ridge it's flying over right now, and just kept flying out. You're going to see a road down here, and let's see, somewhere right around here I got a warning. So one thing you don't see on the video or hear on the video is the controller is beeping and chirping at you, and right about here it was chirping and telling me that I was near an obstacle. And it doesn't chirp or beep unless you're pretty close to an obstacle, like 10 feet or 12 feet. And that's why I turned the drone around. I was trying to see what I was close to, and I couldn't see anything that I was close to. Anyway, flew further out, and here in just a minute you're going to see the road down below. Alright, so there's the road below, and at this point I didn't realize I had flown way too far out, probably something like a quarter of a mile out, and so a quarter of a mile being about 1,500 feet. I think I actually flew a little further than that, probably 2,000 feet out. And the car was probably only, I don't know, 100 yards, 300 feet, 350 feet down that hillside. So I flew about 5 times as far out as I needed to. Right here I was turning the drone around, trying to see the creek because I knew the car is near the creek. Turning around, looking for it. Couldn't see it. Realized I was looking at the road below and decided I had gone too far. And in just a few seconds here, I got a warning that the wind was too strong. The Mavic is supposed to be able to fly in a 22 mile per hour wind, but I got a warning that the wind was too strong and that I needed to do return to home. And as I said before, I didn't want to do return to home, so I was flying it back on my own. By the way, if you're watching this video, it'll make more sense if you watch one of my other videos titled Rolling the Station Wagon Car Down the Hill. After watching that video, come back and watch this video and it'll make a little more sense. Alright, up until this point I was still turning the drone around and moving the camera to try to see what I can see, and you can see way across there when I turn the camera up there's like a spot where the rocks are bare, and that was approximately where I needed to be. So you can see I'm way too far out. And right here you can see the drone's actually backing up. And while the drone is backing up, I was trying to fly straight ahead. So that gives you an idea how strong the wind was, and now it's starting to move. I'm still at this point holding it full throttle, so to speak. It's barely moving. Maybe in a few more seconds it starts to move pretty good. It's kind of stalled out right there. Alright, now it's gradually starting to move a little faster. I think the wind died down a little bit. Alright, directly ahead of the camera is the creek, or waterfall if you want to call it that. At the top of the screen is a rocky, it's a spot where with bare rocks. That general area is where the car started from, and at about just to the left of the creek and about halfway down the screen is where I believe the car is located. And at this point I was just trying to fly back. I walked out to the edge of the hill to try and figure out where the drone was. I was flying it back by instruments only. Alright, right here the video ends because I have the drone set for a maximum file size, and the video ends and restarts again. At this point you can see me almost in the middle of the screen, a little above the middle of the screen, and so now I had to guide the drone back in through the trees, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so I just decided to drop by an old campsite where I've stayed before. And anyway, it's got a nice view. Some trees in the way. We should cut down all those trees. But there's the next ridge over on the horizon there. And anyway, I was visiting this old campsite, just looking around, and I turned around and I realized suddenly that I think Bigfoot has been here. That's right, people. Obviously, Bigfoot builds little teepees like this out of sticks, I'm sure of it. And there's no telling where he is. I should probably hightail it out of here before he comes back. I don't smell him though. They always say you're supposed to be able to smell him. And apparently Bigfoot's favorite is Michelob Ultra.